I love you. All right, don't get too excited. I'm not cooking after either. But can we give a big round of applause to this amazing meal on behalf of all the cooks and waiters that they've been working very hard to make sure we'll have. So, you told me few words, but remember, I am an immigrant. English is not my first language, and it takes more time to express everything I have inside. But you said that yes, people want to vote, and people want to eat. But also people want to make sure that when they vote, their vote counts. Yeah, you can start clapping because there's more coming. Even I live in Maryland, and proudly so. I say I'm a Washingtonian with an accent. And it's many of us in this beautiful city, many of us that we feed the city. And happens that Washington, D.C., in this land and city of democracy, our right to vote is there, but we don't have true representation. So we say taxation without representation, no more. Let's hope that we give the right not only to vote, but to make sure that every man and woman in Washington, D.C., their vote counts, and we will have a voice in Congress, in the Senate, now and ever. And I think it was President Lincoln who said, government of the people, by the people, for the people. And I always say my favorite phrase, we the people. And you know, I think that when we talk about democracy, it's really always about the rule of the majority. But I think it's the obligation, is the destiny of the majority to give voice to also the minority. And usually sometimes the minority to me are those people that are voiceless in our democracy. Those people that sometimes don't celebrate the same American dream I've been able to provide for my family, my children, my wife, and people that work with me. So for me, I do believe that democracy is the majority, where everybody is included. And when I think about what's the best form of democracy, people, that's food. Because nothing happens better than when you are in a good table with good food and good wine, even when you are surrounded by people you disagree with. And that's why you hope you will understand that for me, one of the most important moments really was understanding the value and the power of Thanksgiving. I think in Thanksgiving is the moment that really we are thankful for what we receive more than what we are able to give, because what we receive usually is so much more than whatever we are ever able to give. And as an immigrant, I realized that I receive far way more in America than what I've ever given. And I think this is the destiny of every person. I think this is the new American dream, to make sure that we are able to give to others, even those that we don't know, the same thing that we're trying to provide to the people we love and we know. That should be the new American dream. And a way that a cook like me has to give is through food. One plate at a time is sometimes what any person needs to feel that they belong. And you know, for me it's important to recognize that democracy for me is about role models. I've been surrounded by them. I was very happy to join early on the Points of Light that G.H.W. Bush was able to create following one of his speeches. I was very proud to see President Clinton and President W. Bush and President Obama going to soup kitchens here in the district, like DC Central Kitchen, donating their time on Thanksgiving or on Christmas, on any other occasion, just feeding people in need. And for me, those role models were somehow what planted the seed in me of community service, where I was a person that I was not only feeding the few and the powerful, but also trying to put at the service my knowledge and this knowledge of my fellow cooks to feed the many. So, you know, I do believe that food is the best friend of democracy. Because, my people, food touches everything. Food is national security, it's history, it's politics, it's health, it's the economy, it's obesity, it's hunger, it's diplomacy, it's the environment, it's creativity. And I do believe that America, I'm very proud, my wife and I, we truly became Americans. Because I believe America is the most giving country in the history of mankind. Yeah. Robert Egger, a hero of mine, in this kitchen that past presidents many times over donated their time to feed people in need. Robert Egger said that it seems that charity is about the redemption of the giver, when actually charity should be about the liberation of the receiver. Think about how powerful this phrase is. This is what democracy should be. I'm used to be ending my remarks that there are more than few remarks. And forgive me, I'm an immigrant after all. Food is national security. Brillat Savarin, a Frenchman, and I don't mention French in public often, in 1826, a philosopher, he's the guy that said, tell me what you eat and I will tell you who you are. But he also said that the destiny of the nations will depend in how they feed themselves. Today we had a great salad, don't worry, was beef lettuce. But you realize that less than 2 weeks ago was a call to take out of the shelves every single romaine head in the supermarkets of all America? It's kind of fun, but it's kind of scary. But 200 people got sick. We took down the romaine from the shelves of every supermarket in America. Well, if we apply the same to guns, thousands of people are dying every single day, and I don't see any gun going down. You see why food is the best friend of democracy? If we do this with romaines, why we should not do with guns? Hey, and I am a hunter. I don't want anybody to take my gun. But I think more comprehensive gun reform will be smart for every single America, as we do with our romaine lettuce. And guys, I say that food is immigration. In the Senate and Congress today, I tell you that we have hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants working the land in every single farm where the salads of the senators and congressmen are being picked by undocumented immigrants. Wouldn't it make sense that if we live by our values, once and for all, we pass immigration reform so those salads they eat are done by people that belong to the American dream? Immigration reform is not a problem for us to solve, it's an opportunity for us to seize. And then, towards the end, I'm going to say we're talking about walls. I am the biggest supporter of President Trump on walls. I agree on walls even more than him. When I went to Haiti and we began feeding people in Haiti after the earthquake, we were building walls, walls of kitchens to feed fellow Haitians. When we went to Guatemala, we built walls to build kitchens to feed fellow Guatemalans. If we want really to give safety to America and make sure our borders are protected, wouldn't it be smarter not to build walls of exclusion that separates ones from each other, but walls of inclusion that gives an opportunity to people to do well where they live so they don't have to leave their homes and try to come to another place to provide for their families? That's what food can be doing. Walls of inclusion, never of exclusion. One of the things that really got me going on feeding people around America and then around the world came from the Grapes of Wrath, John Steinbeck. And John taught, the main character, towards the end of the book, he said, wherever there is a fight so hungry people may eat, I will be there. At my organization, the thousands of people that are part of around the world, we took that phrase from Steinbeck with his permission. And now we say, we will be there We do believe that the best way to provide true democracy to America and democracy of America to the world is by providing fellow citizens and fellow people of the world a humble plate of food in times of need. Food is the path to democracy. Thank you very much.